Good morning, guys. In a couple of days' time, I'm releasing the first song from my new project finally, the Isolation Diaries. Didn't know how to start this project without addressing straight on and full on the trauma and the collective experience that we've all gone through over the last couple of years. It's an interesting point because I know that at this point in time, everyone just wants the pandemic to be over. We never wanted it to begin, but at this point, there's an absolute tiredness of it. But how I feel is slightly different. I feel like we have a tendency as human beings, certainly sort of in the West, or as far as I understand it, to sort of like want to run away from things and not really truly address the stuff that we go through, and sometimes try and move on too quickly from it. And for me personally, I've been writing this project because I feel like I can't move on spiritually and inside myself and healthily, without two things. First thing, giving remembrance to those that have passed, and to tell the people that have lost so many loved ones, the families and the friends and so on, that none of this is forgotten. So Elegy for the Dead was written with these things in mind, thinking about this collective trauma, about wanting to address it, about not wanting to run on. I think we have this flight to health. We want stuff to be great. We want to overcome stuff quickly. Sometimes we don't even want to do the hard work. And I'm saying it different. I'm saying we need to do the hard work. What are the lessons in mortality? There is this confrontation with the fact that our stay here is brief, that every single moment we have is precious. Have we really learned that during the pandemic? I'm not sure. I feel like perhaps there's not really a tradition of mortality and confronting the sense of our ending in the West. But to confront our mortality teaches us so much about the things that we do have, about the preciousness of our stay, and about the things we have in our lives. During the pandemic, I think people have been through such a hard time, so I think this sort of tiredness of it is so natural, and I think it's been such a hard time keeping hold of one's mental health. Most people I know have had some type of sort of inner trauma of their own mental health as they've tried to deal with what's been happening on a macro level, but also what's been happening in the changes in their own life. And so what I'm really kind of exploring in the song is this relationship between what's been happening on a macro level as a species, if you like, with in parallel what has been going on inside and the things that we've had to deal with, and trying to make the point that there is a connection between the two, and that we can't just get back into our own lives without addressing the broader trauma of both those that have passed, but also the people that have been affected on the front lines and the families that have lost so many and live with that trauma still. Elegy for the Dead. Found myself sort of like during the pandemic as someone living alone, going through this sort of like this very deep isolation. I'd find myself sort of dreaming of those that have passed. It was like you'd read the news and my dreams were just absolutely filled with all of this stuff we were going through. Holding on to life as a sacred symphony. Holding on to life as a sacred symphony, because this is what we have, and we must be so careful not to learn the lessons from mortality. If you read anything about people, what they talk about on their deathbed, it's not that they didn't work enough, it's that they didn't spend enough time with friends and family. And this really strikes a note with me at the moment, being back in the UK, having missed 2 years of all, so many people that I love here, missing their lives, and it's a joy to catch up with them, but there's also a sort of sense of loss for time lost. But it's also been like a sort of a quickening and a revelation about what it is that I want within the context of my own future. So those are some thoughts about the song, and it's an elegy. It's a kind of consecration of of those that have gone. And it's really like in my mind, I'm within those dreams, literally dancing with all those people that have passed, and who I believe look down on us or are amongst us in their own ways. I think everyone has their own version of spirituality and what they believe, and I can certainly say that with the people that I've lost in my life, that I've always felt their presence. The relationship with those that die, it doesn't end. It's an ongoing conversation and presence in one's lives. And with that, a final thought: never ever forget how important It is what you put into the world every single day. But when you pass, just as those people have passed, every imprint, every action, every thought, it has an effect. It's like it's so easy when one is in a mentally dark place to believe that none of our actions matter, that we don't matter, that our lives are meaningless, that there is nothing there for us, there's nothing out there for us. And it's quite the opposite. A deepening conversation, awareness and confrontation and acceptance of mortality and a tribute or an elegy to the dead. It teaches us the value of everything that we are and that we can give. So please keep believing in yourself, keep going, dream anew, and remember that renewing your life is not about rejecting the past or things that have happened. By giving this sense of consciousness and awareness to those that have passed, we allow ourselves to move on. So I hope some of those thoughts are of some use to someone out there, and that the song Elegy for the Dead helps to transport some of those feelings. So much love, guys. It's been a really tough time, but I think that there's some real magic to come, I believe, this year. So keep on, keep going.